Hello everyone, I hope you guys are doing well and your studies are going in full swing. Sir, what full swing? This is revision time, and at the time of revision, I'm sure currently you are facing one of the two problems or maybe even both. First of all, it is taking way too long for us to revise. So what we thought we'll get done in probably 12 or maybe 15 days is around taking 18 days, 20 days, or even after when we are revising, we are unable to get that confidence that we don't remember stuff. We don't think that we'll be able to write in the exam with this kind of revision. Okay, so in today's video, we are going to discuss a few important points that can probably help you remembering better, retaining better, and figuring out based on our experience that what is normal at the stage of the first revision, subsequent revisions, etc. Okay, so first of all, when we are sitting to revise at this point, you remember facing such a situation for the very first time ever. Always, whether it is a foundation, intermediate, from the time that you have done your classes till the time you sit for the exam, the gap is hardly a few months. So you're not used to that situation where you have done your classes maybe a year, year and a half, or even 2 years earlier, and you are picking up to revise, in which case it appears to be completely new. Remember, this is not just happening to you. Every person sitting with you and who have given the exams earlier has gone through this, and hence if you kind of feel that problem that you're unable to recollect, that's absolutely fine. You've done this quite some time back, it's all there in your mind, but it requires a bit of brushing up. Now for that we have revision videos. So for all the chapters in FR, in AFM, along with important questions, we have revision videos which cover in detail, and you should refer them before you, let us say, touch upon a, let's say, a difficult or an important topic. That kind of clears the air much more easier. I'll put that link in the description. Also, after you have revised, there is always this fear that will we be able to remember, recollect, etc. So what we have also done is we have made a lot of audio notes and we have uploaded that on Spotify and other platforms as well, but I'll put that link as well. So for example, if a financial instruments video is going for 3 or 4 hours on YouTube, which is very detailed, maybe the Spotify clip will be less than maybe 20-25 minutes, or other smaller topics will be less than 10 minutes. So that kind of keeps the ball rolling. It helps you remember much better. So that is how you should try to address the issue of recollection. Try to touch upon, when you have some slack time, quick revision video at least for a easy remembrance, or an audio. Now another problem that we are facing over here is, well, we are traditionally used to solve everything that we have, but now with the lack of time we are ending up reading stuff. So what do? Well, remember, both the extremes are not ideal. To read everything is not ideal. Again, to solve everything, though theoretically the best, with the time that you have, is almost impossible. So what do? Now ideally what you should try to do is, when you are looking at, let us say, something like FR, which has theory also, which has numericals also, the theory ones, it is okay if you kind of read, that's absolutely fine, but the numerical questions you should scribble around. Now there would be certain important questions. We have shared a super 149 file and also LDR questions. So I would say at least the LDR questions you scribble around, and the super 149 questions you solve properly as if you are solving a proper paper. So you kind of have this balance where, for example, if a chapter has around 30 problems, you can kind of end up reading around 10 to 15 of them, scribbling around 5 to 10 of them, and then solving properly another 5 to 8, and hence that entire mix is properly maintained, where you don't overshoot your time for sitting and solving each and everything, but at the same time you don't end up reading everything. Because if you do something like a consolidation or a business combination, if you just read those big questions that are there, they're not going to be able to help you kind of get that clear understanding. So have a mix of that. Theory questions you should read. Even for AFM, you have most of the numerical questions, and in those numerical questions, the LDR ones or the super 90 ones, you can try to solve as much as possible. And if you have less time for solving, at least scribbling around, doing it on your calculator should also suffice. Okay, now when you're looking at doing important questions versus all questions, at least at an earlier stage over here, and we're not in the last 1 or 2 months in your exams, where in the final revisions, yes, you can pick up the LDR questions that we have shared, or even if you have marked a few questions or a few adjustments, you can pick that up. But right now, if possible, you can try to touch upon everything that is there. Now again, while you're doing it, there will be certain areas where you think they are very basic, and trust me, at least for things like AFM, you can just cross them off. Because when you have that last 1.5 days, I mean, there will be a temptation to read everything again. But if you can't read this in, let's say, 10 days, it's almost impossible to do it in 1.5 days. So your preparation over here should be geared to reaching that 1.5 days in a very efficient way, because that is what counts the most. So over here, what you do is, especially when you're doing AFM and even for FR, but FR you have, let's say, 5, 6, 7 days before your paper, which you can dedicate. AFM has 1.5 days only. So you should keep a separate color highlighter where, let's say, you're doing a capital budgeting problem. It's almost the entire same problem, but there's one new adjustment. Let's say there are 2 projects having a different life or some different tax adjustment. I want you to highlight just that part of the question in the adjustment and that part in the solution, and that's about it. So there will be certain questions which you will do entirely, but there are certain questions which are kind of repetitive just with a different adjustment. But on the day before your exam, you'll have to refer the entire thing. No, you will just highlight the part in the question and the solution, which will help you very effectively managing it. Okay, now the problem of planning versus actual. Almost certainly what you plan, your actuals exceed that, and that is okay. Remember, your plans are supposed to be very kind of ambitious in the sense that you want to complete a particular thing in a particular frame of mind. It is okay if you are overshooting it, let us say, by a few days. Let's say if you've planned 15 days and if it is taking around 18 days, that's fine. Remember, rather than leaving a particular chapter just because you are overshooting, you might as well do it relatively maybe quicker. However, irrespective of whose or which study plan you are referring, it is a bit of variance. Maybe if you are having a 15-day, maybe going up to 18 days is fine. Remember, we would try to stick to it as much as possible, but don't get bogged down and push yourself or punish yourself hard because you're taking more time. As long as that more time is going in understanding and not doom scrolling, then it is fine. So remember that if it is taking more time, where you are putting the efforts, it will come back to you in a much more stronger way, where you take lesser time in the second or subsequent revisions. Okay, now when you are forgetting what is revised, at this point, first of all, from what you have done to classes till now, not remembering everything is absolutely normal. It happens all the time. Even now, a student thinks that, oh, I've spent 15 days for FR, 10, 12 days for AFM, I still don't have the confidence to write the exam. That's absolutely how it should be. If you think that with one revision you are going to be able to write the main exam, then people will not need the second and third revision, right? So if you are expecting that you are going to be able to write the paper with that one revision, you are going wrong. Okay, so you will have the second revision, and if time permits, a subsequent kind of touch up later, and that will kind of strengthen your understanding greatly. So don't really worry about currently not being able to recollect and remember everything. Remember, you have more revisions at place and they will kind of help you in strengthening the concepts. But when you are kind of reading right now, the first reading, the focus should be understanding and recollecting everything. In the second revision, it should be more exam focused, where you're just focusing more so on what are the most important areas and how do you tackle it in the exam. And during the second revision, after the second revision, it is advisable to write, let us say, one full portion mock if you can, so that you can get an idea. After first revision is not usually a good time to write, because you don't really remember as well. You have a broad understanding, but there's no way that you can write an exam paper, an exam level paper, after your first revision. Okay, so don't worry about that. Try to keep on touching upon like subjects like audit. People suggest that you can spend an hour or hour and a half daily. That really helps. Even for FR and FM, you can refer to short audio notes. You can refer to short videos. You can have your own audio summary and you can listen to that. But the more you kind of brush upon, the more number of times, the easier it would be. Again, to think of it that if there's a very tricky paper or question I will not be addressed, don't worry. You will be able to address. Just ensure that you methodologically go on preparing. And how do you retain better? Well, while you are doing a particular topic, ensure that you are focused entirely on that. You're not really worrying too much on how much it is overshooting, how much it is undershooting. As long as if you can make small pointers, small notes, good highlights, and trying to refer the same material more and more. Rather than referring 5 different books, I know you don't have the time, referring one book for 5 times is much more effective. Okay, so ensure that you give it your best. I'm sure you're going to do well. Keep your mindset right and keep the momentum going. I'm sure you're going to do well. Wish you all the very best. We'll keep in touch again. We'll have more revision videos coming your way. Till then, study well. Good luck, goodbye, and take care.